So we continue with the adrenal gland. So we just discussed the adrenal gland ka medulla produces adrenaline and gives you a lot of changes in your body, which is almost like a autonomic nervous system ki sympathetic conditions. So that is about the adrenal medulla, which produces adrenaline, which prepares your body to fight or flight. The next, so we see over here that the functions of adrenaline, we are reading the functions of adrenaline, the emergency hormone. It increases heartbeat accompanied by an increase in the blood pressure. It increases blood supply to the muscles while decreasing it to the skin and the visceral organs. More glucose is released in the blood by the liver, like putting more fuel into engine. The final dash to win the race is under the influence of adrenaline. So yes, these are the conditions wherein adrenaline is going to be given to the body so that it is more rapid, or it is more effective, or it is more accepting the challenges and all. The next part is the adrenal cortex. So the outer layer, that is the outer part, which is the adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex secretes many hormones, but the best known hormone is cortisols, which suppresses inflammation. The cortical hormones are categorized as, so there are two kinds of cortical hormones. The first one is mineralocorticoids. The mineralocorticoids are going to regulate the minerals present in the, नाम से पता चलता है mineralocorticoids, minerals, यानी it is going to take care of the concentration, or you can say the amount of minerals present in the body. So regulates mineral metabolism, especially sodium and potassium ions. The next is glucocorticoids. Regulates carbohydrates, proteins, fats metabolism. In general, the cortisol hormone, so what is the cortisol hormone do? It increases blood glucose concentration. So amount of glucose present in the blood will be monitored by the glucocorticoids. So that is blood glucose concentration जो है उसको maintain करेगा, increase करेगा. Influence fat and protein metabolism. So fat and protein metabolism is going to be taken care of by it. Regulates salt and water balance in the body. You can see all the different kinds of the balance, the chemical balance of your body. Okay, the chemical constituents of the body should be maintained. इतना salt होना चाहिए, इतना पानी होना चाहिए. So all that constituents of the body are maintained or regulated by these kind of cortisols. Regulates salt and water balance of the body, adapts the body to stresses such as extreme heat or cold, burns, infections, etc. And certain cortical hormones behave like sex hormones. They are both male as well as female hormones in both sexes, and overgrowth of cortex in young children leads to premature sexual maturity. So also, not only that, there are 6 corticoids which are going to determine the sexual characteristics of the body. Means, jo characteristics when you are going to be having the change in your, you can say, the adolescence period. Okay, the adolescence जब भी होता है तभी क्या होता है, तो at that time you are going to have certain changes which are going to be there. That changes when you are just going to be having the sexual changes, like in case of females, they are going to start menstruating, or in the males they are going to have the beard coming up and the mustaches coming up and the shape of the body, the tone of the voice, everything is going to change. You know, those changes which are going to take place are done with the help of sex corticoids. And these particular things, if these hormones are generated earlier in life, automatically it will be earlier maturity of that particular child. So, and not only that, even if these hormones are going to be, the females may normally एक set of hormones होते हैं और males में एक set of hormones होते हैं. That means depending upon they are present in both of them, but their secretions is going to be monitored. So if that secretion exceeds in this particular thing, the male will be having certain female characteristics and the female will be having certain male characteristics. So we see over here women with beard and men with breasts. This is there. The woman will normally not have a beard, of course, obviously, but where we will be seeing that there will be some hair growth to females. This is because of the increase in this particular sex corticoid. So If there is an overgrowth of adrenal cortex in a mature woman, she develops certain male characteristics such as a beard, mustache, and a deep male voice. The condition is known as adrenal virilism. Virilism means maleness. If the overgrowth occurs in mature men, then they develop some feminine characteristics such as enlargement of the breast. So accordingly, you will be seeing that there will be some kind of a change in the female and the male, means female को male type का characteristics and male को female type characteristics. That is also because of the abnormal growth of the adrenal cortex. Now, if there is hyposecretion, that is undersecretion of adrenal cortex, it causes Addison disease. Now, Addison disease, the symptoms are loss of energy, skin pigmentation, loss of weight, nausea, hypoglycemia, that is low blood sugar, sensitivity to cold and pain, increased susceptibility to infections, etc. So, these are certain kind of diseases which are going to be as a part and parcel of Addison's disease. So Addison's disease is caused due to hyposecretion. So hyposecretion. So it is hyposecretion of this thing. So this is hyposecretion causes Addison's disease. Okay, it is Addison's disease which is going to be there. Addison's disease which is going to be causing certain kind of illnesses like loss of weight, nausea, and hypoglycemia, that is low blood sugar, sensitivity to cold and pain. All these are Addison's disease ka symptoms. If it is hypersecretion, so that is hyper. So if it is more secretion, so if the secretion is here, the secretion is less, here the secretion is more, then it causes Cushing syndrome. Okay. So, hypersecretion of adrenal cortex causes Cushing syndrome. Symptoms are obesity, hyperglycemia means high blood sugar, osteoporosis, weakness, salt and water retention. So, these are certain kind of diseases, or we can say certain symptoms which are going to be seen in a person who is having an hypersecretion of adrenal cortex. So, cortisol's ka hypersecretion causes Cushing syndrome. Okay, so that was our first endocrine gland, the adrenal gland. The next one we have is the pancreas. So pancreas is the next gland. So the next what we have is the pancreas. Now the pancreas are both duct gland as well as ductless gland. From the duct gland, it is the one which is going to the digestive system, so that is the digestive juices. They will require a duct. Whereas the ductless gland is the endocrine gland. So endocrine part of the pancreas is the ductless gland, which is the group of cells which are called as islet of Langerhans. Okay, islet of Langerhans are the cells which contains the property of the function which does the function of producing the hormones. So pancreas is both a duct gland as well as a ductless gland. As a duct gland, its secretion, that is pancreatic juice, is poured into the duodenum for digestion. As a ductless gland, it has special group of hormone secreting cells called islets of Langerhans. Okay, the islet of Langerhans are the special kind of glands of gland secreting cells which are present in the pancreas. Islet of Langerhans, which are scattered in the entire gland. Islets means little island, and the islet cells produce three hormones: insulin, glucagon, and somatostatin. So we can see these ones. So of course over here we had got two, that was adrenaline and second was cortisons. Here there are three. One is insulin, glucagon, and somatostatin. Okay, so the three glands are somatostatin. Yeah. So insulin, glucagon, and somatostatin are the three different kinds of cells called produced in the three different kinds of cells as beta, alpha, and delta. So this one in beta, this in alpha, and this in delta. Okay, so beta cells insulin, alpha cells is glucagon, and somatostatin in the delta cells respectively. Somatostatin is not in your syllabus, so we will not learn about that. Now we see what is insulin. Insulin secreted by beta cells checks rise of sugar level in the blood. This it does in two principal ways. So what does the insulin does is insulin is going to be checking that what is the amount of glucose present in the blood. It will check the amount of glucose in the blood. If it is less, तो और मंगवाएगा liver से. If it is more, then it will try to get it used up and try to maintain the level of glucose in the blood. So it is done by two principal ways to promote glucose utilization by the body cells. So first thing is that if the glucose level is higher, it will tell the body cells to अरे use कर दो यार, खत्म करो इसको. Why are you keeping like this? Okay, it's something like that. So it is like to utilize. It is getting it utilized. Okay, so it is glucose utilization of the body. And second is it stimulates deposition of extra glucose of the blood by glycogen in liver and muscles. So the next thing is that in case अगर कोई use करने वाला नहीं है और glucose generate हुआ है तो वो glucose को it is going to convert into glycogen and it is being stored in the liver and the muscles. So accordingly you will find that glucose monitoring will be done either by getting it used or storing it in the form of glycogen. So what happens if there is an abnormality of the insulin? Shortage and excess. Both are going to be dangerous. Insufficient secretion of insulin causes diabetes, more correctly diabetes mellitus or hyperglycemia. Okay, so if the secretion of insulin is less, then the body will be having more glucose, the blood will have more glucose in it, and that is nothing but diabetes. So normally we call it as diabetes, but actually more precisely it is diabetes mellitus. Mellitus means honey, so that is diabetes, because as such there are two kinds of diabetes mellitus and diabetes insipidus. Insipidus is water, related to water, whereas diabetes mellitus is related to honey, means it is related to sugar. So sugar diabetes is nothing but diabetes mellitus, which is caused due to hyposecretion, less secretion, under secretion of the insulin. So the word mellitus means honey, referring to the passage of glucose or sugar in urine. A diabetic patient has high concentration of sugar in the blood, hyperglycemia. Hyper means excessive, glycemia means sugar, and glucosemia, sugar emia. Excess is glyc, and sugar means glucose. So hypoglycemia. So that is how it works: sugar, glucose, and emia means blood. So hyperglycemia excretes a great deal of urine loaded with sugar. So the sugar the urine will have a lot of content of sugar in it. And finally feels thirsty because the loss of water through too much of urination. There will be too much of urination and it is going to cause it a kind of a thirst will always be generated to the patient or suffering from diabetes. Loses weight and becomes weaker and weaker. In certain cases, the people loses eyesight or vision. So this is, in fact, I would say diabetes is a silent killer. Okay, diabetes is one of the most dangerous kind of the diseases which a man can have. Okay, because why I am saying it dangerous, because nobody dies directly due to diabetes. Diabetes is not a killer directly, but diabetes is going to slowly and steadily cause problems to the different parts. So organs ka different organs का failures takes place due to diabetes, and that is why it is going to be harmful, because the diabetes, that's why is harmful. So that's the reason a person who is suffering from diabetes will have to monitor his blood sugar level well, so that he is not creating such kind of organ failures in the body. See, because organs are going to be failing only if the diabetes level goes higher. But if he is maintaining a good blood sugar level, means if he is having a good diet and exercising properly, then even he can sustain a very good life with the diabetes with him. So the main thing about a diabetes patient will be that he needs to have a proper control of the diet and control of the blood sugar in his body. So the usual treatment of by administering insulin is not a cure, but only a method of supplying the hormone which was not being produced by the pancreas. So so a person who is suffering from diabetes, if it is not in a two later stages, then it will be the person will be given a normal tablets, but otherwise the person will be given insulin directly into the body. So insulin, when it is given directly to the body, so why it is given? Because the insulin secretion by the body is less. It is a hyposecretion of insulin. That's why you will be having insulin given to the person externally. But of course, it's not a cure. It is only that you are just supplementing that particular hormone to the body from outside. Oversecretion, sugar level in the blood is lower, hypoglycemia below, and the brain may enter a state of coma if the level becomes too low even for a few minutes. Now, if it is hyposecretion of insulin, it is manageable. It is not a problem. You can always take insulin from outside and create a kind of a balanced situation in the body. But if there is an oversecretion of insulin, in that case it is very, very dangerous. Why? Is because oversecretion of insulin means it is getting more insulin. Uska matlab hai, your glucose level in the blood are automatically decreased by the insulin. And what is insulin going to do? The insulin is going to get the utilization of the glucose done, which was actually required for the body. So if the body is deprived of the glucose, then there will not be any ATP given out by the body, and no ATP means no energy and all problems of the body will start. In fact, brain, if it is not getting a proper amount of glucose, then it can go into a stage of coma. So that's why oversecretion of insulin is more dangerous, and it could be leading to a state of coma if the level goes low even for a small time, that is some few minutes. Okay, so that's the reason normally the people who are it is always seen that the people who are having the problem of diabetes, they will be, and they are under heavy dose of medical medicines are there, or they will be taking insulin directly, as injecting insulin directly. They normally have a peppermint, okay, a sugar candy or something in there with them, along with them. This is because whenever they feel that they are having some kind of a low sugar, then they can just pop up that particular sugar, so that even if it goes higher, if the sugar level goes higher, it is not going to be a concern. But if when it goes low, then it will be a problem, and it could go to, a person can go in coma. So that's why a person will the diabetes patient will normally, who is taking a huge amount of heavy doses of insulin or heavy doses of medicines for diabetes, will keep this particular handy, because if the see, it is this way that diabetes का patient अगर insulin लेता है और अगर proper खाना नहीं खाया, then insulin content in the body has increased than what was required, because the glucose which is going to be generated by the food, if that is not sufficient enough, then it is going to be utilized by the insulin, and it is going to be depriving the body from glucose. So that's the reason the person who is suffering from diabetes will always take the tablets and then have a proper food, okay, because if he doesn't take a proper food, then it will be a problem for him. So a similar thing may happen to a diabetes patient if an overdose of insulin is given. The patient may become unconscious. This is called insulin shock or hypoglycemia, and a prompt bite of sweet biscuit or sugar candy is helpful. That's precisely what I told you, that this could happen. Even a person, of course, if it is naturally, then of course it will be, you cannot, you can take some medicine. But if you are injecting yourself with insulin because you are a diabetes patient, and then if you are not having a proper food, then it may happen that a person may go into an insulin shock. Okay, that is hyperglycemia. So hypoglycemia or insulin shock, hypoglycemia, sorry, and insulin shock, and that's why it will be a quick bite of a biscuit or sweet biscuit, or it could be a sugar candy, which will be helpful. Caution answering a question. It is wrong to say insulin converts glucose into glycogen. Instead, insulin enables the cells to absorb glucose and use it to convert it into glycogen. So yeah, insulin doesn't convert it into glycogen. We can say that it is going to be absorbing. It enables the cells to absorb the glucose and to use it or to convert it into glycogen. The next one is the glucagon, which is done by the alpha cells. So glucagon function is exactly opposite to that of insulin. Insulin ka exact opposite is glucagon. Insulin is utilizing the glucose and storing it. Glucagon is producing glucose from the glycogen, which is being stored in the liver. So exactly opposite function of that of insulin. Glucagon is secreted by alpha cells. It stimulates the breakdown of glycogen in the liver to glucose, that is, raises the sugar level in the blood. So the sugar level in the blood is going to be raised when there is a glucagon is going to help you to do the raising of the. Now this is normally being the condition wherein you are, I would say, fasting. Okay, when you are fasting for a long number of hours or days, then automatically what will happen? Your body requires glucose. So how does it get glucose from? Because you are not eating anything. So it is going to convert the glycogen into glucose and give the glucose to the body. So that is certain kind of things which is going to be there by glucagon. So you can see the role of pancreatic unit is this way, that the work done by the so the figure over here, that is 12.4, that is the role of pancreatic hormones, insulin and glucagon, in regulating the sugar, blood sugar. So you can see that if the blood sugar rises, okay, the rise in the blood sugar, then the glycogen, then what happens is, okay, we'll take it this way, that the glucose, which is the pancreas kya karne wala? Well, let's take let's start from the pancreas part. So there is a low blood sugar. So because of the low blood sugar, that is on the top right, you can see low blood sugar. It will promote glucagon release. Okay, the body में पता चला कि there is low blood sugar. Low blood sugar है, इसलिए क्या करेगा? Body के अंदर तुरंत ही pancreas को information मिलेगा कि blood sugar is low. So according to that information, the glucagon is going to be generated. The generation of the glucagon, what it will do? So glucagon is going to be generated by the alpha cells. So pancreas produces glucagon, and that stimulates the glycogen breakdown. So glycogen which is present in the liver, uska breakdown hoga, and that breakdown is going to convert the glycogen into glucose, and hence it raises the blood sugar level. So you can see blood sugar level kam hua, तो pancreas के अंदर के alpha cells are going to produce glucagon, which is going to affect the glycogen in the liver, and glycogen is getting converted to glucose, and hence the blood sugar level rises again. So that is one process. Another process is when the high blood sugar, that is after digestion, there is a high blood sugar, then what happens? It promotes insulin release. The beta cells are going to be producing the insulin, and that insulin is going to stimulate the glucose to uptake from the blood, and then if it is going to be used up by the tissue cells, then it's not a problem. If it is not, then it is going to allow the glucose to get converted to glycogen and store into the liver, and accordingly it lowers the blood sugar inside the blood. So that is how the pancreas as the endocrine gland is going to function. So hormones of the islet of Langerhans in pancreas is insulin, which promotes glucose uptake by body cells. Similar deposition of extra glucose or glycogen in liver and muscles. Deficiency causes diabetes mellitus, sugar diabetes. Excess causes nerve cell starvation and brain coma. Glucagon from alpha cells stimulates liver to convert glycogen to glucose, and somatostatin from tetraset inhibits secretion of insulin and glucagon. So that anyway is not in the portion, but it is inhibiting the secretion of insulin as well as glucagon. Now we see the next gland, that is the thyroid gland. I think I can definitely continue it in the next video.